Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request for Bronson. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, requests in any type of videos would be a topic, tier list, ranking, review, re-review, thoughts, streams, commentaries, whatever the case may be. Feel free to send it and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. Bronson sent in a bunch, very kind of him to do so. But we are getting to near the end. I think I have 2 more of his to do after this. But thank you, Bronson. Hope you're enjoying these. It's funny because as I'm doing this on YouTube, my friends Fabio and Michael CP, they put up their reviews for this. Because I think Bronson requested them to talk about it as well. So Mrs. Doubtfire from 1993. This is a film that I would say I liked as a kid. Then I saw it a few years ago. I went, I liked it, but is that, is my favorite comedy trope the person wearing women's clothes and that automatically means it's funny? No, it's not my automatic favorite trope or comedy. Now, I don't think it's like what Cat Williams says, that, oh, well, black people are forced to wear women's clothes. Is Robin Williams black? Adam Sandler and Chris Farley and David Spade wore women's clothes on SNL. Bob Hope, back in the day, I'm sure did, and various stuff. And Jack Lemmon, Some Like It Hot. Remember that movie? Shitload of people you could name. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Fuck Cat Williams. But watch it again, this movie, it's how I felt like when I was a kid. This film has the right amount of heart, right amount of humor. I would say it's a better version than what he tried to do later with films like Patch Adams, which I know some people like Patch Adams. I am not one of them. I do not think it's the worst film Robin did, but I'm not a fan of Patch Adams. I think it's overly sentimental. I think you root more for the villains, because Patch in that is, I thought, more of a villain, because he's doing things he should not, and got his girlfriend killed, among other stupid shit. But anyway, that again, that's a whole other thing. Don't want to veer too off from this. But this one, I watch it again, I still laughed a good chunk, and it's got some heart to it, and sometimes it's just close to being overly sentimental, but I thought it was able to hold back a little bit so it's not too sappy, it's not too sugary sweet. It's the right amount to make it a satisfying. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Robin film. I would used to say Club Paradise is my favorite, but I would say nowadays Jumanji is my favorite, but this would definitely be in my top 5 Robin Williams films. At least, well, let's see. If I put Jumanji and if I put Club Paradise in there, I do like What Dreams May Come. Yeah, this Aladdin I like too. This might be in my top 5. It might be. But Robin Williams, each time I see a film with him in it, I miss the guy. Maybe that's another thing. Watching the film again, just missing Robin Williams. Seemed like he has so much joy, so much heart, so much soul to still give to the world. And he already given a lot. And you just watch interviews where he turn an interview to a stand-up act. I mean, if you watch Inside the Actor Studio, it's like an interview, but it is pretty much like a comedy, special as well. And how he go on these tangents, and his improv skills can be wonderful. I mean, I always bring up this story, but the fact that apparently, supposedly, on the set of Cadillac Man, one of the co-stars was Judith Hoad, and the story goes is that he heard she was doing the 1990 Ninja Turtles film, and so he gifted her some of the comic books. If that's, I mean, I think that story is true, and if so, I mean that just brings a smile to my face. And it's one of those things where, and the way he went out because of what was going on in here, and how it was breaking down his mind. I can't blame him for what he did. Because do you do that, or do you live like a vegetable where you can't do anything and you're trapped in your body? It's a very scary situation. And also, was he even in his right mind when he did the act? Does affect your brain? So again, was he even in? It's just, I don't want to get into it. It's a whole fucking bag of shit. But then you watch these films, you just get a smile on your face. It's helped by Chris Columbus's direction, because he did Home Alone 1 and 2. I know he'd go on to do, I think, the first 2 Harry Potter films. And you have Sally Field, you have Pierce Brosnan, you got Harvey Fierstein, you got the 3 kids, I think it was Matthew Lawrence, Mara Wilson, who was in Matilda, and then Lisa Jacob, who plays the older daughter. She was the daughter of Randy Quaid's character in Independence Day. Which, I don't know why it took me till now to realize that. You also have Robert Prosky, who was in Last Action Hero. He was the usher who got the magic ticket to Danny. A ticket, you know. I love Last Action Hero. Very underrated film. But Pierce Brosnan, of course, you know, and what's nice about Pierce Brosnan's character is when you watch it, he's really not a villainous character. I mean, he treats Sally very well. He treats the kids well enough. There's not some scheme where, oh, he's going to steal money or he's actually married. I mean, the only thing he says is he thinks the other father is a loser. But, I mean, I can't really blame his point of view, because if he hears these stories about how irresponsible the guy is, and, you know, what happens at the beginning, this whole petting zoo, but then, yeah. And hell, if you like a girl, a lot of times you'll think that guy, he's an asshole, he's a loser. I mean, he doesn't, it's not a one-note villain that they made him into. Even at the end, where they kind of look at each other and they kind of shake each other's hand, I thought that was kind of nice. So yeah, because it would have been easy to just make him, oh, I'm the villain, and no, he's going to save her from this slimy guy. Well, no, that's not really key. He's not really that slimy of a guy. So I thought that was actually, I wouldn't say brave, but, you know, a different thing to do for this kind of movie. And of course, this is before he would do GoldenEye. Because GoldenEye was, what, 95? So this was 93, so it's before that. And, I mean, people know the plot, but just because, for the shits and giggles. He's a voice actor. I like the idea that he's a voice actor, which of course makes sense because Aladdin, among other stuff. But the fact he's playing a voice actor, I thought that was cool. He's doing a cartoon, and we see him voicing this bird as well as this cat, so it's not quite Sylvester and Tweety. I always thought it was kind of a weird thing, though, that for this cartoon in 1993, they would still make a cartoon where a character would smoke. Like, if it was like back to the day, or Porky Pig or Bugs Bunny are selling you cigarettes, is one thing, but I'm like, I don't know which studio they're making this cartoon for, but I'm telling you, they're going to have a shit load of bad luck with the ratings board, because they ain't going to be having this. You know how the MPA was in the 90s? In the late 80s? If you farted the wrong way, you would get an R rating. I mean, with action horror especially, you think they don't give a pass to cartoons and to someone smoked a cigarette? No. So again, I don't know who the fuck they're making this cartoon for, but they don't be in a shitload of bad blood. They should have listened to Robin in the first place. So they have the character smoking. He's supposed to be saying about how they're so good, but he puts in how awful it is. And they're like, well, your lips are not doing it. What are you doing? Your lips are not matching. What kind of message are we saying to the kids, huh? The smoke is great? Like, what do you guys think? And they're all smoking. I like the line, they're biased. It's a mistrial. Well, listen, you gotta do the job or you're gone. What did I got to do? What I got to do? I think he says it like Gandhi. What the hell is that supposed to mean? He kind of threatens him, and I do like Robin's last bit in that. A piss off, Lou. So I thought that was a pretty funny opening bit. It's his son's birthday, so he's going to go all out and get a petting zoo and a party. That was pretty much against the mom's orders because the kid was failing something on his report card. Sallyfield gets told about this, goes down. Now, I think also, there was a time I was watching this and I just really disliked Sally Field's character. Watching it as an older guy, I can understand her point of view. I think that's another thing I appreciate more watching it again. I understand her point of view. And hell, I mean, she even says it, you always made me out to look like the bad guy. And it's like, well, because we love Robin, and he's such a carefree character, and we see how much the kids love him, which how refreshing that the kids like the father and love the father and want and care for the father. You know, a positive father figure. I mean, such a crazy idea nowadays, huh? But again, if you're a parent that comes home and your whole place is a goddamn zoo, and you told one thing and you get ignored, and then you're made to look like the bad guy and look like an asshole, and you're the one that's got to keep a job while he seems like not the first time this guy's lost a job. You can understand the frustration. It's not like she's giddy about it. Even in the court hearings, she's not like, she's more like sad, upset. I thought Sally Field did a good job with that. Even the court reading at the end, you see this look on her face, and she's not happy about it, and she's not giddy about it. She's not, yeah, or unemotional. It's a very tough role to play because, again, we love Robin. It's a comedy. He's going to be a lovable guy. You have the person against him, and she's got to kind of play the serious part, who puts her foot down. And I do appreciate they didn't go for they get back together, because I think that could have been the cop out. The cop out could have been, maybe they'll get back together, maybe something sparks up, maybe something. They don't do that. I mean, you could assume maybe one day, but it's more of, let's say, it's not really, I don't know how to put it. Like, it could have been a cop out where somehow, some way, they end up kissing again and let's try one more time. And their romance has been reinvigorated. They didn't go that route. And I don't think they needed to. Because in a weird way, I think this is the more realistic take on it. At least that part of it. Maybe not the rest of the movie, but that part of it. So I appreciate that. And there's some good emotional parts when Robin is talking with Sally, and Sally's like, "We got nothing in common." He's like, "Yes, we do. We love each other." And then the kind of realization that she's not saying anything, and he's like, "Don't we?" And that little bit of hitch, like his voice is almost ready to break at this realization. And then you see Sally Field's face. She's not giddy about it. She's not happy about it. She's not happy. She's sad about it, but that happens a lot. You get together and either you hide who you truly are because you want to impress, and then when you're married, your true self comes out and you realize, oh, actually, maybe we don't have as much in common. Or people change and want different things and they're not ready to adapt, or something else entirely. So, just how it goes. I thought the kids all did fine. I thought Robin did great. The son is saying it's his fault, and the way Robin is comforting him, saying it's not your fault. Thought that was very sweet. It shows that maybe he wasn't a great husband, but he's definitely a great loving father. Yeah. I didn't mind the moment. You're my goddamn kids too. One thing leads to another. He feels like he can't just see his kids once a week. I guess in 3 months there'll be another court hearing to see if he can see his kids more. But in between, he knows that Sally Field is trying to find a housekeeper. So he gets the idea of maybe he could be the housekeeper. So he goes to see his brother, Harvey Fierstein, who I do wish was in the film more. He is one of my favorite parts of the film. I like Harvey Fierstein. He was Jeff Goldblum's buddy at the beginning of Independence Day. Speaking of which, then really, yeah, two people here who later be in Independence Day. Lisa Jacob and Harvey Fierstein. But yeah, he just had that voice, and I thought he worked well with Robin. And he had some of the funnier parts, whether it be he's talking to, I guess you'd call his boyfriend or whatever, and he's saying something, and he says, "Bitch." And the mom on the phone, "No, Mom, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the dog." Or later when Robin's like, "Can you make me a woman?" And he's like, "Honey, I'm so happy." And the way he's like getting ready, he's like, "Let's pray." Or in the bit where they look at what are the faces they make and then they start singing in unison. There's some very funny bits in the. Like I said, I wish Harvey Fierstein was in it. He only comes back one more time when the mask gets crushed. He makes another one, but you never see him again, which is too bad. I don't know how you would put it in, but I just wish he was in the film a bit more. Other funny bits, I did like the bit where there's I recognize the lady. I've seen her in a bunch of films, but I cannot. Her name escapes me. But the lady that's going to be kind of his social worker, try to give him a job. And he's like, "I do voices." And then this montage of him doing Sean Connery or Ronald Reagan, or "I do a great impression of a hot dog." But it's also serious. Like, listen, I get it. I'll do whatever I can, whatever you need me to do. I just want to see my kids. So again, it does a decent enough job of meshing the heart and the humor better than some other movies do, at least to me. Other bits that come up when he's calling, he's pretending to be other people, and for the point of Sally Field goes, "Man, I don't want to hire this person," to make him more desperate. So the times that Robin tries to call, he at one point he pretends So, are you kids well behaved, or do you need a few light slams every now and then? Or, hello, I don't work with males, says I used to be one. Or, I am Job. Do you speak English? I am Job. In for the kill. Like, I thought that was a funny bit. For him to use his ways of expressing different voices, different characters, which was part of his job at the beginning, to incorporate into it, it fit the film. And as Mrs. Doubtfire, I thought that the makeup they used, they did an effective job. So they did a decent enough job hiding it so people would not recognize it's Robin. And honestly, I mean, did a decent enough job that it does look like an older woman, because I've seen women that kind of do look like that. And the way he plays the voice, very hard to do, because a lot of times be like, oh, of course you would think he was a man, or a trans man, or whatever, or a transformer man, or whatever. But I thought Robin did that pretty effectively. And there's a bit where the social worker comes by and he's trying to be him and Mrs. Doubtfire, and he actually rips his wig off, and the mask goes out the window and it gets run over. He's like, oh shit! And she's like, are you okay? Then he's got to dunk his head into this taped whatever. Oh, hello! Oh, there's just something for my face, you know. It's just that joyful energy that which is very contagious to smile and laugh with. Of course, there's the bit where he gets his fake tits on fire, and I've been a woman for a few days, I'm already having hot flashes. You have the montage to the song Dude Looks Like a Lady with Aerosmith, which I do like that song. Haven't heard that song in a long time. Dude looks like a lady. That's a song you don't really hear mentioned much anymore. Maybe because they feel it's probably un-PC or something. They being whoever, radio, whatever. Or maybe I just don't listen to the radio enough. Maybe it's on all the time and I don't realize it. But it was nice to hear that song again, because I like Aerosmith and I haven't heard that song in a long while. Dude looks like a lady. And during the montage, I do like the bit with the purse snatcher where he's like, back off. Put my babe the bastards. You introduced Pierce Brosnan. Again, I like they didn't make him a one-dimensional slimy guy. Trying to think. Oh, the bit where Robin overhears him saying, oh yeah, their father's a loser, so he throws the fruit at the head. Oh, I saw it, oh my god, they ran away over there, it was a run-by fruiting. And then throughout the film, either some of his kids find out he's Mrs. Doubtfire and they keep the secret, or at his job, there's this guy who is sucking ass as the children's host, and Robert Prosky is like the producer, creator of the show, and at one point he sees Robin playing with these dinosaurs, doing all these voices, and goes, hey, you're pretty good. Meet me for dinner and we'll see what we could do. And the whole finale is him going back and forth and getting the Doubtfire costume or not in costume, and then getting so drunk he's going in the wrong booth, wrong table. Then Robert Prosky, nice to see him in there. I don't know what happens with Pierce Brosnan's character, because he's choking and Robin's able to do the Heimlich onto him. Help is along the way. And then gets found out. And yeah, I like the bit kind of Robin and Pierce kind of shaking hands. But then you never see Pierce again, so I don't know if Sally, for some reason, just stopped seeing the guy, or just changed her mind, or what the deal was. Like, it never really says what happened to him at the end of the film. I know that's not a big deal to people, but I'm like, well, what did happen to him? Because, again, it just never mentioned. I get it, it's more concentrated on Robin and his visitation rights being taken away, and which, I mean, based on the circumstances, you can understand why the judge rules in that way. They see Mrs. Doubtfire on TV, the show is successful, and then eventually some things happen. He's able to see the kids a bit more often. So there you go. I don't know if that works legal wise, if the wife can just make it so, and then the court will change the ruling. I don't know how that works. I'm not in law, so I don't know. But yeah, watching the film again, it was fun. It was fun to watch it. It was nice to see Robin play to his strengths. But yeah, I think Sally Field had a bit of a tough role. She did what she could. I thought the three kids, they weren't annoying. Mara Wilson seemed like a sweetheart. But yeah, I remember from Matilda and among the other movies around that time period. Still has memorable lines and jokes in it. I wish Harvey Fierstein was in it more. But other than that, yeah, it was fun to rewatch this again. It did well at the box office. It was one of the biggest hits of 1993, along with Jurassic Park. I know there was talks for a while of doing a sequel. Just never came to be. You didn't need a sequel, because if you think about it, what would be the point of doing a sequel? I mean, why else would she need to be, or he need to be Mrs. Doubtfire? Especially if it's this popular show now, so people would see and know who Mrs. Doubtfire was. So it's like, well, what would be the point? What situation would he need to get into to be Mrs. Doubtfire again? Just wouldn't make sense, or it'd be like, that's a reach. Apparently, they shot enough footage where one could be rated G, one could be rated PG, and one could be rated R. Apparently, at one point, Chris Columbus wanted to maybe do a cut. It would be curious to see the R-rated cut. I mean, I honestly think if you were... That should be something studios should look into if they want to make some money. These different cuts of these films. It's out there. Go see it if you want. See the film like you've never seen it before. I really do think like that would bring in some eyes and help get you some money, which you studios desperately need. Because people are curious about that. People like seeing that stuff. People want to see the different takes and the different versions, the different... I don't like Zack Snyder's Justice League, but from all intents and purposes, it seemed like that was successful. So I don't know why you don't do more of that stuff. I mean, I didn't like it, but I know the people were into that stuff. That was the stuff they were into, and they liked it. Like I love to see there's the story of the R-rated Kangaroo Jack, because the original Kangaroo Jack was an R-rated film that the kangaroo was not as big of a part of the story, but then was it Snow Dogs or something was a hit, and that's selling the best as we want to streaming wise. So let's retool this movie, and there's a whole story behind that, which is pretty interesting. But I'm a sucker for seeing different cuts of a film. So I would love to see the R-rated cut. I don't think we'll ever see it, sadly. But it is what it is. Other than that, nice to rewatch this again. It's always nice to watch Robin. Remember him, because he deserves to be remembered. Force of nature for comedy. Sweetness oozing out of his soul, and I remember being sad when I heard he passed away. I do remember, which is weird because I never met the guy, obviously, but it's just that you see that warmth that he even brings to this character. And interviews and things just, and it's gone. It just this wave of sadness overcame folks like me, and it just still felt. But we do have films like this to remember him, and again, still a fun movie to watch to this day. So, rest in peace to Robin Williams. Old Captain, my Captain. I know, a different movie, but still. Especially at the very end, when, as Doubtfire, he's reading this letter. This person sent a letter about their parents divorcing, and as Doubtfire's given this speech that, there's different families. Some have 2 moms, some have 2 dads, some have whatever. But they still love you. And it ends with the way he says bye-bye. And driving away as if, Robin saying bye to us. It hit me a little bit. I will say it hit me a little bit. Like, hit me a little bit, I gotta admit. Anyway, sorry about that. But I just miss Robert Williams. I really do, man. I really do. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.